time for Weekly Pulse, your heartbeat to what's trending in sports. It's almost that time of year again with Christmas right around the corner, so we caught up with Olympian and X Games former snowboarder Jamie Anderson to talk about her experience with the sport. 49ers tight end George Kittle and his wife tell us about relocating to Arizona. Then, Cowboys veteran Darren Woodson relived one moment in the 1994 NFC Championship game that doomed the team's chance at a three-peat. And of course, the NBA season starts next week, so we have a quick preview of what fans can expect. Just like that, in the blink of an eye, a new NBA season is upon us, and I think it's shaping up to be just as unconventional as the second half of last season. And Mark, what have you been hearing from the league on what extra steps they'll be taking to ensure things run smoothly? And have you gotten a sense of any apprehension from the players or even the staff, since now they're going to be outside of the bubble?
Well, look, all people are signing up for this, but there's certainly concerns. When I've been on Zoom calls in the last few weeks, there's definitely been an acknowledgement that no one knows if this is going to be able to succeed. Doc Rivers, the Philadelphia 76ers coach, went so far to say he doesn't know if the NBA can pull it off. But why they're still moving forward with this is, I think, some of the things that Jeff outlined is that the NBA has set itself up to succeed, relatively speaking. Their health and protocols documents 150 pages. In those protocols, some of them are similarities and some of them are fairly obvious in terms of the daily COVID-19 testing, the enforcement of sanitary rules, social distancing and mask wearing rules. But there's also some new things in play to hold people accountable for this. Every team has to have a handful of different outside consultants that enforce some of these rules, number one. And number two, there's a lot more regulations on what people can't do because they're not in a bubble. So will people be able to stay disciplined with that? And because the NBA doesn't have full enforcement as they did in the bubble, can the substitute of having these consultants with every team be enough as far as checks and balances?
The biggest news recently, Giannis committing to the Bucks for 5 more years on a max contract. Jeff, what does that say about Giannis and the Bucks organization during a time in the NBA where loyalty to one team, especially a small market team like the Bucks, hasn't exactly been commonplace?
Well, you hit it right there. There is some loyalty that runs both ways, and I think there's been a lot of trust developed over the years. And when I started to try to, give the odds on where I thought Giannis might go or what he would do, I wasn't positive he was going to sign with Milwaukee with that big extension. But the one thing I do know and have heard is that all throughout this, the Milwaukee Bucks were the first team that really put a lot of trust and faith in Giannis. It was the first American city that he really knew. His family came here. In a roundabout way, this is where his brothers grew up. It's where he grew up, into a man and started his own family. And there is a connection there, without a doubt. And so it shows a great commitment from Giannis to Milwaukee. And I think the Bucks have done a fantastic job of making it a comfortable place for him to be, a place where he can see himself playing another 5 seasons. And now it's on the Milwaukee Bucks, the front office, the general manager, John Horst, the ownership, to greenlight the kind of decisions that will put a championship roster around Giannis. But I think this is also fantastic for small market teams to know that if you do the right things, there's the possibility of keeping your star that you drafted, that you developed, and not seeing him run off to one of the big markets for whatever reason. And I know general managers and executives and owners around the league who are playing those small markets, they're cheering this decision. They knew Giannis wasn't going to sign with them anyway in free agency, so they're happy to see it. And just look, let's start forecasting this down the road. It's going to come up again with the New Orleans Pelicans and Brandon Ingram, and what's he going to do with his future? And then Zion Williamson. And so those teams who are similar situations with young stars, they want to be able to point to Milwaukee and say, this is what's possible if we do the right things for you.
You've probably heard by now, but the Cleveland baseball team is getting rid of their previous nickname, and here are the suggested name changes. All right, so for the first one, Spiders. This one is a popular one on social, has a lot of traction, and as you can tell, a lot of people are already creating logos for it. Personally, this is the one I were to choose if I had to choose any of these on this list. The Cleveland Spiders were a baseball team in the 1890s, but do you really want to go back to a team name that went 20-134 in their last season? I mean, maybe they can revive it. More power to them. The next one is the Naps. So before they were the Indians, they were the Naps. They were named after a beloved player / manager named Napoleon at the time. I'd personally be hesitant to call a baseball team the Naps just because of the jokes that could come along about taking naps during the baseball game, that kind of thing. All right, the third one, Rocks / Rockers. I know the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is in the city, but Cleveland Rocks is a bit on the nose. For some reason, this is giving me thoughts of old ladies on rocking chairs. I wouldn't do that. All right, the next one that they have is Cleveland Guardians. So the city of Cleveland has these cool, gigantic Guardians of Traffic statues, hence the name Guardians. But I personally say just go full Guardians of the Galaxy mode on this. You might get a Disney Plus series out of it, who knows? And the final one, Cleveland baseball team. Jokes aside, Washington football team has aged well, and I think it's gonna stick. Let's not forget that European sports, it's essentially the standard to insert, city sport and go by club. So yeah, I mean, why couldn't it happen here?
So we've reached the end of the College Football Playoff Selection Committee's theoretical rankings. We're gonna have the final rankings and the playoff field on Sunday after the conference championship games. But we got our final preview of what the committee's thinking as we go into this week. And I think there's a little bit of controversy here. Not at the top. The top fours remain the same the whole time. Very solid: Alabama, Notre Dame, Clemson, Ohio State. When you get down further in these rankings, there's a real confusion about Florida as a great example at number 7. This is a team, they were number 6 last week, but they went out and lost to LSU. They were more than a 3-touchdown favorite. They played a very poor game. Why did they only drop by 1 spot? This is a 2-loss Florida team. And why is Cincinnati moving down? They've had COVID issues. They haven't played in a couple weeks, but they've lost a spot in each of those last 2 rankings. They're at number 9. No respect from the committee for what Cincinnati's done. Alabama's probably in either way. Notre Dame's probably in either way. And then you've got Clemson at number 3. They probably need to win. Could they get in with 2 losses to Notre Dame at number 4? We'll see. But it's been very, very stable in that top 4 from beginning to end. We're just kind of debating on the margins. And right now, it just seems like the committee really likes the SEC. That may bode well for Texas A&M sitting there at number 5 if one of those top 4 spots opens up.
Welcome back to Weekly Pulse. Now, let's play a game. George Kittle and his wife Claire stopped by for a fun couples game to see who's more likely to do something. Who takes longer to get ready in the morning, and who's the biggest trash talker? Take a listen.
All right, for USA Today Sports, I'm Ralphie Aversa. Trendsetter Claire Kittle and her husband, San Francisco 49ers tight end George Kittle, have just launched a new line of limited edition eyewear with the company Zenni. Matter of fact, they're wearing said eyewear and joining us right now here at USA Today Sports. Hi, guys. Thanks for the time. How are you?
Excellent. Wonderful. Thanks so much for having us on.
Where are you guys right now?
Arizona.
Yeah. We're the San Francisco, Arizona 49ers.
Yeah.
For both of you, what has this past week been like?
Crazy. It's been a whirlwind. Just learning, rolling with the punches. We're pretty good at packing up and moving on a drop of a dime these days. But it's fun. We're excited to be here.
No, definitely. It's definitely different. I didn't think that this football season I'd be playing a home game at the Arizona Cardinals home stadium. But it is what it is, and I think our organization's done a great job of, like Claire said, rolling with the punches and just ebb and flow and figure it out as we go. And I think we've done a great job with that. And just trying to make the most of being in Arizona, and at least we're in a place that has beautiful weather, which I really like.
What is your timetable? Just out of curiosity, do you have an updated timetable for when you're going to get back?
Oh, they said 6 to 8 weeks, and I'm coming up on, I think this would be 5 weeks, and so we're getting there. Like I said, sooner than later.
Is that like a struggle that I feel like a lot of athletes in every sport, they have this with the training staff, with the coaches, with the front office as well. You want to get out there, they're trying to protect you. What's that back and forth like?
Oh, I mean, really, it's everyone wants me back out there as long as it's safe and, I can't hurt myself further doing something stupid. So taking all the precautions, and just not trying to rush it back. But as soon as I get the green light, you'll see me back out there pretty quickly.
I'm wondering now too, you guys mentioned your favorite frames, inspiration for the names, inspiration for the design. Has this kind of piqued your interest to maybe, pursue this more beyond eyewear?
No, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, just the opportunity to work with Claire on something has been a blast. And, just really, anything would be really fun. And the fact that Zinni gave us the opportunity to do this and they gave us a lot of freedom with it, we've loved working together on this. And, and so hopefully it
opens some doors to the future.
Yes.
George, it's crazy. Even with all the injuries that, the Niners have suffered, you guys are still in the playoff picture. How is this team doing it?
We got a great group of guys, and everyone sacrifices a lot, and we have a great coaching staff that leads us in the right direction. They just ask, they tell us what they need from us, and our guys go out there. And I'm pretty sure our team right now has like the most different people that have ever played, in one season. Like just the amount of rotation we've got guys in and out for lineups and stuff like that. So I'm just proud to say I'm a part of the team that has guys like that can just say, hey, doesn't matter what's going on, I'm just going to get the job done. And we've done a pretty good job of that. Got to eliminate mistakes here and there, and got to get guys healthy, obviously. But the guys that are out there definitely doing a great job.
All right, we want to play a little couples game with you guys before we let you go.
Oh, goodness.
I will read a statement or a question and count to 3, and then whether it's Claire, if it's you, or George, if it's you, or if it's the other person, you point to the person that it applies to. More time spent in the bathroom getting ready for the day.
Sometimes. Okay. Probably me on days we're getting ready, but
I put sweatpants and a t-shirt.
I do his hair, so that doesn't count.
See? I'm just chilling.
Better kill-death ratio in Call of Duty.
Whoa. I don't even want to
Thank
say.
you for asking that question.
You.
Thank you for asking.
I'm glad I was able to get you at least a clear-cut one there. More likely to take a better Instagram photo.
Me.
More or bigger hopeless romantic.
Ooh, George.
Me for sure. For sure.
He is. He's romantic.
Bigger trash talker.
I don't get to
Wow, he finds some conflict here. Look at this.
I don't talk trash. She talks trash. If she was if the stadium was full and she heard someone say something like bad about me, she would be in their face very quickly. So that's what she does well. I don't talk trash.
That's true, actually, yeah.
We're not arguing this at all. So George, you must be right.
Why not? See, thank you for proving I am right once in a while. Thank you for proving it.
Most right.
When Weekly Pulse returns, American snowboarder Jamie Anderson talks with us about her training, diet, and winning gold. Welcome back to Weekly Pulse.
Hi guys, my name is Jamie Anderson. I'm a professional snowboarder. I have 2 Olympic gold medals, 17 X Games medals, and 4 ESPY awards. I would describe snowboarding as a pretty free-spirited sport, at least in slopestyle, which I compete in. It's based on style and creativity, and thankfully there's no rules, so you can kind of do whatever you want. The scoring for most of our competitions is typically based on overall impression. Usually we'll get 2 runs in a final, and your best run counts. Judging is based on style, technical tricks, execution, and overall impression. So you don't want to have your hands all over the place. You don't want to come close to falling. You really want to make it look effortless. When I got into snowboarding, it was considered kind of like the troublemakers. I don't think my mother really liked the idea of me being a snowboarder. It's crazy to see how far it's come in the last 15 years since I've been on tour. In the next 15 years, I would say more creativity. Like, I think they've gotten so much better at building parks and features and like enabling the athletes to do higher performance tricks. And I think that keeps the sport really fun and ever changing. I would say one of my most amazing moments was winning my first Olympic gold in Sochi. We had a 2-run final and I was the favored to win. I fell my first run and I think I was in like last place. And I had never felt so much pressure. Like, I'm telling you, I could have exploded with the amount of pressure. And I remember really vividly, like right before I dropped in for my final run, I just I don't do it a lot, but I like really sent a prayer out and just like dedicated that run to everyone who helped me get to that exact place, because I know I couldn't have done it alone. And just that little feeling of like doing it for something else brought this like insane amount of peace to my heart. And I remember dropping in and just being like, whatever, like this is gonna be perfect. Like, I really had no fear. And everything came together perfect. And when I landed that run, I just like threw my hands up and I was just so happy. Like, I could have cried of joy. I would say if and when I do make it to the gym or like go on like a mountain bike ride or something to like do my endurance training, I'm usually listening to like hip hop or rap, maybe some like remixes of like old school. I really like 90s hip hop, anything that has a good beat. I really was loving the new Gunner album. A lot of those tracks just had like good lyrics, good beats, and just kind of would like bring me into the present moment. Sometimes if I'm listening to a song when I crash, I'll kind of like not want to hear that song for a while. But also if I learn a new trick to a song, like I remember the first time I did a Cab 10, I was listening to Tupac Changes and I was like, I have to listen to that song every time now. Like, that's my song. Oh, I love my mom's music, like 60s oldies, like a lot of that, like Fleetwood Mac, Stevie Nicks, the Doobie Brothers.
Welcome back to Weekly Pulse.
All right, let's backtrack. We're not going to backtrack to your first 2 seasons in the league. No, we're going to backtrack to the 1994 NFC Championship game. And we're going to talk about a specific moment in that game. Now, you weren't on the field, but certainly you were on the sidelines. And I am curious to hear what you thought of this particular moment in the game. You probably know where we're going.
I know where you're going, Ralphie. Go ahead.
6:14 to go. The Niners are up 10. The Cowboys are driving. You got 2 eventual Hall of Famers lining up across from each other, and Michael Irvin, your teammate, and then your eventual teammate, Deion Sanders. The ball snapped. Aikman drops back to pass. And then, of course, he throws that pass to Irvin, and it seems as if Deion Sanders kind of hand checks him, commits pass interference. However, no flag. Niners go on to win the game and eventually win the Super Bowl. From your vantage point on the sideline, what happened there?
Ralphie, you know what happened. Deion Sanders is one of my best friends. Love Prime. Like, he's my guy. But you can't tell me that was not a pass interference, that Michael Irvin didn't get tackled on that play. The momentum had shifted in that game. Ralphie, I'm glad you brought that up because I'm still a little perturbed by that game. The momentum had shifted in that game. They got out early on us, and we chipped away like championship teams do. Showed championship medal. We kept chipping away. We finally get back within 10. We're driving down the field. That was an obvious pass interference. It was a pull of the jersey. If we had replay, that's a touchdown. That's an absolute touchdown. So if he doesn't make the catch, we're on the 1 yard line. We punch it in, go in, we're down by 3. The game, the momentum had all the way shifted. I firmly believe right now, and even then, that we would have won that game and we would have went 4 straight Super Bowls. So all you Niner fans that are out there that are listening, yeah, I said it.
So Deion joins the team in 95. What's that first meeting like?
Oh, we're on him. We were on him the entire time about that pass. You know, look, I loved him. I thought he brought so much, and he's a dear friend of mine. But at that time, we were still sour. You know, we understood where we were in history. And that play cost us the ability or the possibility of winning 3 straight championships. So, you know, we welcomed them, but we also gave them a hard time about that PI.
You mentioned with replay in this day and age that the call probably gets overturned and they probably call pass interference. You know, I'm curious too, though, from a social media standpoint in this day and age, if that play happens, what do you think the reaction is?
Oh, it'd be an uproar. It would be an absolute uproar. If it happened and it didn't, if there was no flag on the play after seeing the replay, that it would be an uproar. And social media would definitely be, because look about it. This was an NFC championship game with the 2 best teams in football. And all eyes from the beginning of the season were on these 2 teams because we knew we were going to meet up again. So one of the biggest games in the history of the NFL was played by the 2. That was basically the Super Bowl you were watching in 94 there. So at that moment, you better believe if there was social media, that play would have went viral, you know, hands down.
Real quick before we let you go, let's do a little backtrack quiz here, 90s Cowboys edition. Darren, who was the quarterback that finished and won the 93 NFC Championship game against the Niners?
Man. Was that Kosar?
That is correct. Vern Kosar it was. You got it.
You know,
you got this.
That, man. It's been a long time.
No, we're going back here. We're going back. Here we go. What was the name of Troy Aikman's country song?
I have no idea.
Oklahoma Nights.
Can't sing. That's what it should have been called. Can't sing. God help me. Yeah.
When was the last time the Cowboys made an NFC Championship game, and who did they play?
That was 94. I'm sorry, 95, and that was against the Green Bay Packers.
Yes, it was. And what's been the single biggest reason that Dallas has not gotten back to a championship game since then?
Wow. That's a good one. What's been the single biggest reason? Look, ownership starts. When you take extreme ownership, it starts with whoever the CEO is. And that falls right on the shoulders of Jerry Jones. That's where it falls. And Jerry will be the first one to tell you, yeah, it falls on my shoulders by the fact that we're not there. He would take extreme ownership in that because that's exactly squarely where it falls on. And it falls on the players as well. This team has had ample opportunities, and I disagree with a lot of people that said that, you know, they haven't had a team that was capable. They've had multiple teams that have been capable. Tony Romo was the quarterback of some of those teams that could have won championships. They didn't get the job done on Sundays, and that falls directly on the players' shoulders and the coaches' shoulders as well.
Darren Woodson, 3-time Super Bowl champ, again joining us on behalf of Crown Royal. Darren, thanks for the time. We appreciate it.
Thanks again, Ralph.
That does it for this week's episode of Weekly Pulse. Christmas is right around the corner, and deck the halls, the NBA season starts next week. Tons of great matchups for the holiday, and as for the NFL, there are only 3 weeks left of the regular season, so the scramble for the playoffs is on. Until next week, I'm Mackenzie Salmon. Thanks for watching. Hey sports fans, if you want to see more videos like this, check out some of our other ones right here. And if you like what you see, make sure to hit the subscribe button and stay tuned for more from USA Today Sports.